It's easy to forget that life can be such a beautiful thing. Sometimes it feels like everything is in disarray, it seems unorganized, and the stress is just weighing you down. When this happens, it can become easy to forget that life is beautiful. And today, we're gonna answer the question of how do I live a life that I love? There are really three things that are gonna lead you to the answer of this question of living this life that you love. And the first is identify. You have to identify the life that you actually want to live. Identification comes with exploration. It comes with identifying things. The way I define it is the high performance life. L-I-F-E. Life is love, impact, faith, and energy. It's the high performance life quadrants. And when you look at those quadrants, they're really designed to help you decide who, what, why, and how all these things fall into place. So let's take the first one, love. Love is such a big word. It's such an important thing. But who are the people in your life that matter the most? Who are the who's you're living for? Who are the who's that drive you to be better? Who are the people that you want to be surrounded by for your biggest ideas, for your greatest accomplishments? Who are the people that when something great happens, you always call them? If you're gonna live a great life, identify the who's in your life that matter the most. Number two is impact. It's I. Impact is what you do. This could be everything from your work to what you actually do in your life that you love doing. Your work is often also accompanied with your wealth, with your success, with the things that people know you for. It's often the quadrant of life where someone says, what do you do for a living? This is the area of your life that often causes the most heartache, the most frustration. It might have the most potential, the most opportunity. But when you define the what, it's really about impact. What impact do you want to make? What do you want to see in this quadrant of your life to feel successful, to feel accomplished? Whatever it may be, this is the area of your life you're identifying of what you really want to be, what you really want to do. The third quadrant is going to be F, and that's faith. It's really important to establish something bigger than yourself. If you're only living a selfish life and the ego is driving everything that you're doing, there's an emptiness that's gonna live there. And it's very hard to find joy and a life you love, so you've gotta identify something bigger than yourself. It doesn't have to be God for you, it is for me, but for you, it could be anything that just says it's something bigger than you. What are you living for? What is your why? And establishing a why can add purpose. When you add purpose, you have this little tiny thing inside of you that starts to feel amplified. You feel like you're doing something bigger than yourself every day because it's not about you. The next quadrant is energy. Now, when we're talking about energy, we're talking about how you show up to the world. Identifying how you want to show up to the world. It's happy, healthy mind, body, and spirit. So we're talking about mental strength, physical strength, all the areas of your life in that quadrant that go in there. Identifying how you want to show up is crucial. If you've always envisioned yourself as being in shape, and you've always been in shape, and you love that part of your life, you love making sure that you're constantly working out and you're looking your best, you're feeling your best. If you're not doing that, it's very hard to live that life you love. So identifying the most important things, the most important features inside of each of these quadrants helps you identify the world that you want to live in. There's a little bit of homework with identify. I want you to grab a piece of paper when you have a chance, and I want you to write 4 boxes. Box number 1 is going to be love, the who's in your life. But I want you to just download all the information of the who's that are in your life. Box number 2, right next to it, is going to be I for impact. All the things that are important to your work, your wealth, your life, your impact, what you do. This is that box. Quadrant and box number 3 is going to be faith. Something bigger than yourself. You can call this spirituality, you can call this nature, you can call it whatever you want, but how are you showing up to show that there's something bigger than you? How is your ego getting out of the way? What is your purpose? Why are you doing it? The last quadrant or box is going to be the box of energy. Now, when I say 4 boxes, I say draw a line down the center of the page and draw a line straight through, like you're drawing a cross. And each one of those boxes becomes a brain dump of all the things that are on your mind as I were bringing these things up. This helps you to identify the very things that are most important in your life. What you're really doing is you're searching for a way to prioritize. You're brain dumping all the who's that exist in your life and circling the ones that really stand out that you are living for, living with, wanting more time with. You're doing the same thing with impact. What are the jobs you love doing? What do you not love doing? Cross things out, circle the things that are most important, all the way through each of those quadrants. And what you're really doing is you're identifying the most important things. You're prioritizing them, and it helps us move to the next step, which is experimentation. You're experimenting with the next phase. If you took the time to write down all these things that are important to you, it's probably important to make sure they're actually real. You know, lots of times we think we want something, but it's not actually what we want. Many times we trick ourselves. We build a false ideology of what we think we want, and it's not anything. Once we taste it or try it or do it, it's not really what we want. Not only are you identifying and prioritizing the most important things, but you're actually experimenting, meaning that when you prioritize them and these are the most important people, you're spending more time with them, and you're checking the box, say, wow, that really is more valuable. Every time I'm with that person, I have new energy. Every time I build something in business with this person, they actually make me feel better. Versus every time I'm around that person, I feel like I want to be around them more, but I don't feel as good when I'm with them. Or I love my job, I love my career. What do you love about it? What are the things that you love? As you do more of them, sometimes we write down things in that box that we want to be doing more, and then we do them and we actually don't enjoy them. This is the area where you're kind of testing your hypothesis. Is it what you actually thought it was? I think I'll be happier if all these things are there. I think I will live the life I always loved if all these things happen. Well, try it out. Experiment. And then after you've experimented, you really have an idea of what's working, what you love, and maybe what you can cross off. It might be a lot less than you thought in the beginning. It might be only a few things that really stand out to you. After we've experimented, we've identified, we've experimented, now we move into building the life you always imagined. Your ideal life. If you're like me, when someone says you're building your ideal life, you might get a little bit uncomfortable because you're like, wait, I like to change my mind every once in a while. I like to pivot. I mean, new things happen, new people happen, new relationships, new opportunities, new careers. But what you're doing is you're really building the core values of what's important to you. You're building your own mission statement, your own core values. Who, what, how, and why are the things that you have to identify. And when you've done that, and you've experimented and you've proven that they're the most important things, you build your life around it. So how do you do that? How do you build your life around those things? Well, I can tell you right now, you've written some people down on the page of the who's that are the most important people, and you haven't seen them in a while, or you're not spending any time with them. I've got a cousin in Massachusetts that I was the best man in the wedding. I love him to death. I don't see him enough. I write his name down on my list all the time, and I have to find ways to better prioritize, to just see someone I love that's an important part of my life. As I build the life I always wanted, and I've identified who and how it's important, I've now started to build that life in and around the people, the humans, the impact, the faith, the energy, all those things, I build my life around it. After you've built this life, don't think that it's just stagnant. It's ever changing. Self-awareness is the crucial extra tip. It's the part that you've got to be able to pay attention to. You've got to know life is imperfect. You're going to be imbalanced. There are times where you're dedicating a lot of time to your family and not enough time to your impact. There are times where your impact is way too important to you and you start to lose sight of the things that really matter. Life is ever changing, but being aware and accountable to yourself is the secret sauce. It's knowing when you're overwhelmed that you got to go back to the pen and paper. You got to go back to the page, rewrite that stuff down. Maybe things have changed in your life and it's time to adjust, and that's okay. Sometimes life can be severely overwhelming, and just putting this stuff on paper is difficult. If that's where you're starting from, visit the next video, which is dealing with overwhelm. It's actually very similar to the process we use to find the life we love, but it's just reversed in a sense where you're identifying the most important things and then finding out what's dragging you down or overwhelming you.